Hi, class. So today what I wanted to talk about is one of my favorite chapters from Eating the Big Fish. And it's the chapter 6 on the second credo, which is build a lighthouse identity. Now, the idea behind the lighthouse identity, and I think one of the reasons this chapter really resonates with me, is that I am a scholar of advertising, and there are a couple different viewpoints or theories about advertising. And one of them is that advertising is a mirror held up to society or to ourselves. And so he opens the chapter talking about an example of a case that says, of an advertisement that says, that's why. And it's a that's why advertisement. So just kind of reminding the consumer, this is why you like our product, because it fits perfectly in your life. And that's advertising, like mirroring society. Um, I don't necessarily think that that's the best strategy forward, especially if you're not the lead brand. In the lead brand, you have all. If you're the number one brand in the marketplace, you can do all kinds of different things and still maintain that number one status. But if you ever want to grow and prosper as a small organization to a medium to a much larger corporation, one of the ways to do that is to create a lighthouse identity. So rather than being a mirror and that's why type of advertisement, what I recommend and what basically the author Adam Morgan recommends is that we instead what I think what customers are really looking for are lighthouse brands, or a way in which they can navigate this ever increasingly complex world. So some ideas around navigation would be something along the lines of having a distinct identity and a strong and self-referential identity, having a brand that stands out from the competition by the intensity and their confidence in themselves. So the idea is that a lot of times people don't know what they want. And so you have an idea or about the product category or about what you want to accomplish in the world, and you might know better than the consumer what they want, and they just need to learn about your product. So if you have a strong self-image and you have confidence, people are just drawn to that. That's why typically they're drawn to the number one brand, because they're familiar and they're ubiquitous. But if you're a second rank brand or third or fourth rank or a startup, you have to have an intense projection of who you are. And so one of the examples is a car that it was a startup in the U.S., Mini, and I have a picture here of the Mini on the slide. And one of the things about that is they had a distinctive identity. You can recognize a Mini from any other car on the road, and it's basically offering an alternative, a different way of seeing the world. And so in the book, they have an advertisement that says, let's sip, not guzzle. Let's leave the off-road vehicles off-road. Let's not use the size of our vehicle to make up for any other shortcomings. Let's reclaim our garage space. Let's be nimble. Let's be quick. Let's be honest. Let's motor. So in there, they're kind of very strongly stating their identity, and they're stating their identity a little bit by what they're not. But also just what the ideals that they stand behind. People are drawn to ideals, and that people want an idea that there is a truth out there, especially in this day and age where there's so much in social media and so much in the news that's being portrayed as false or deceiving. in this case, we want our brands to be the true brands, to be truthful to us. And of course, you would think that makes sense. And even for a number one brand, you'd want to do this. It's just common sense. But you'd be surprised that if you can communicate that you have a distinct identity and that you have a point of view that you stand behind, you can really accomplish a lot as a company. So, as I mentioned before, as a company, you would advocate for you could, and it's not necessarily you have to do this, but if you're creating a business, why not do this? Why not state who you are? Why not have a particular point of view about the way the world should be, about what counts and what doesn't count? Method, and they just opened the first factory, not just opened, it's been a few years now. They opened a factory in the south side of Chicago, in a place where a lot of factories, there used to be all factories there, but not a lot have opened up recently. So, and not only did they open up a brand new state-of-the-art factory, it's an eco-conscious factory. It's a LEED platinum building, very energy efficient, complete with, you can see the picture, complete with a solar panels and windmill. And they basically have an idea, and you can look a little bit more into this company. And you may have bought their products. Their products are available widely in the United States, not in Europe yet, I don't think. But the products they come in an attractive bottle. They're kind of meant to be somewhat artistic. They stick out a little bit, and so their products are made to be aesthetically pleasing. And then on top of that, they're also 100% environmental, 100% green products, and an industry where that's really wasn't the case. Now, when they started, this area of the industry, like the green or sustainable cleaning products, was only about 3%. And I think partly method had a lot to do with the changes in the industry, because they were just so successful that other leading companies like SC Johnson started like following suit. But they'd already carved out their niche in the marketplace and have a strong market position. Are they the number one cleaning products company? No, but they're doing a great job of differentiating themselves. And so now, actually, 30% of the cleaning products industry are actually green products. So you can see how they got in at the right time with the right message, and then you can see there that they're able to accomplish a lot. I have a little quote here from Tom's of Maine. It's actually at the beginning of the chapter here, and it says, "Success means never letting the competition define you. Instead, you have to define yourself based on a point of view you care about deeply." In this case, that's what Method did. And then what they've done then is they've then gone on to have another credo, which is they've become a thought leader in the industry. So now that doesn't mean that you ignore the competition and the customers. It's just that you have a really clear idea of what you want to achieve with your brand. And if you have that, the customers will flock to you. So moving forward, we have another really popular brand. I don't know, when I was growing up, Swatch watches were huge. Everybody wanted one. They just kind of exploded onto the scene. And here's a nice quote from Nicholas Hayek from Swatch, talking about emotional products. So, and the idea behind this is that besides having a point of view all of your own, you also want to communicate with emotion and intensity. So that's the idea behind that. To give you an idea of some other companies that basically have a point of view and communicate that with emotions, come from the textbook. And so we have Target's CEO believes that just because you don't have money doesn't mean you don't have taste. So, and then Dieter Matsushitz of Red Bull holds that his blend is simply is not simply an energizing liquid in a can, but a philosophy. We believe in individualism. We hate conformism. We believe in a civil courage. We believe you have the responsibility to make up your own opinion. Um, Linus Torvalds of Linux believes that software is like sex. It's better when it's free. Twitter believes that every moment has a caption. Just that goes on. There's quite a few in there. Google's "Don't Be Evil." It's probably familiar. There's a Spanish shoe company from an amicably small, slow-moving island of Mallorca that believes that we should walk, not run. So kind of to take it easy in life, to take it slow. So all of these kind of they're creating a philosophy around their products, and and these ideas kind of they spread, and they're contagious. And that's another actually aspect of the product, and that's that they're noticeable. Brands that are powerful are noticeable. Even if you're not in that category, you don't do mountain climbing or surfing or outdoors activities, you probably have heard of Patagonia. It's just they're famous because of all and they're often mentioned in the media. And you can think of all the different companies like this. Think of Tesla and SpaceX, right? I think the book is an example of the World Wrestling, WWF or WWE, it's called now. Those are all examples of just they're super noticeable in the marketplace. And then finally, another thing that's powerful about these brands is that they're built on a rock. And one of the things is they usually have a design standard, and that they overperform rather than underperform. I think it's really interesting the the ideas behind that. There's an interesting example in the book about Henry Ford that had a just enough philosophy. They were the market leader, right? And they would send people out to scour the scrap heaps looking for old Ford engines. Then they would drag them back to Detroit and look for parts that hadn't worn out and downgrade the specifications to save money. So that's just the kind of stuff that the market leader can get away with because they are the leader. And at the beginning of the book highlights how hard it is to challenge the market leader. But if you're a challenger brand, you have your own design standard. You're going to insist on over performance. So the idea of Land Rover, that where you can go 4,000 miles off road without requiring anything more than gasoline, that's a design standard. Patagonia has very, very high design standards for their clothes. They're meant to last, so much so that you can actually return clothes if they become ripped or torn, and they'll replace or repair the clothes for you. They even have a design standard that you could wash your clothes in a cooking pot and be able to put it on afterwards. So all these brands kind of thrive on the idea that they're going to overperform. They're going to give more than what you would expect, and that's how they're able to challenge the market leaders and to create a great business for themselves. So that's just a little bit about that. And also they in the marketing, we talk about brand image a lot, and that's basically what people think of your brand when you kind of measure that. But this kind of bucks the trend and says, no, we're not focusing on brand image, we're focusing on identity. About carving out an identity, it takes a long time, and that this is how we're actually going to be. And everything about about who we are, from our organizational culture all the way to our design philosophy to our products and our customer service, are all forged on a really strong identity. And if you can do that, then you can take on the market leaders.